The Roman Republic, once the epitome of governance, military strength, and societal sophistication. For nearly 500 years, it stood as a beacon of political innovation and civic pride. But all great systems have their breaking points. One man, Julius Caesar, would change its course forever, leaving a legacy still debated over 2 millennia later. Before Julius Caesar's rise, the Roman Republic stood as a marvel of its time, a political system that inspired admiration for its ingenuity and structure. Unlike many other societies of the ancient world, it was not ruled by kings or tyrants, but operated under a complex framework designed to prevent the concentration of power. This system was defined by a series of checks and balances that ensured no single individual or group could dominate. At its core were 2 elected consuls who shared executive authority and served for a limited term, thus preventing any one person from holding too much power for too long. These consuls were supported by the Senate, an influential assembly composed of Rome's elite patricians, noble families that traced their lineage to the founding of the city. The Senate was the engine of Roman politics, guiding decisions on foreign policy, finance, and legislation. However, as democratic as the system appeared, the Republic was far from egalitarian and was deeply divided by class. At the bottom of the social hierarchy were the plebeians, the commoners who made up the majority of the population, including farmers, laborers, and soldiers. These individuals had limited political influence, despite their essential role in Roman society. Above them were the patricians, the wealthy and powerful elite who dominated the government, held most of the key offices, and controlled much of the land and resources. This stark inequality created tension and periodic conflict between the 2 groups, as the plebeians often struggled for greater representation and rights within the system. The Republic, while innovative and impressive, was a fragile balance of ambition, privilege, and discontent that would eventually pave the way for its transformation into an empire. The Senate, while the core of governance in ancient Rome, often prioritized the interests of the elite, ensuring that power remained in the hands of the wealthy and influential classes. Despite moments of reform aimed at addressing inequality, such as the establishment of the tribune of the plebs to protect the rights and interests of ordinary citizens, these efforts were often met with resistance. The tribunes, though powerful in theory, frequently faced opposition from the Senate, as the ruling class sought to maintain its dominance. As a result, tensions between the elite and the broader population simmered beneath the surface, occasionally erupting into periods of social unrest and political crisis. On the surface, Rome was a juggernaut, expanding its military presence across the Mediterranean, defeating rivals like Carthage, and solidifying its dominance through a network of alliances and colonies. It established vast trade networks that brought wealth and goods from distant lands, while also creating architectural wonders like aqueducts, temples, and forums that symbolized its greatness. However, this prosperity came at a cost. The concentration of wealth in the hands of a few elite families led to growing inequality, with small farmers losing their land to large estates and the urban poor struggling to survive. This widening gap between the rich and poor left the Republic increasingly vulnerable to internal strife, setting the stage for political instability and eventual upheaval. Enter Gaius Julius Caesar. Born in 100 BCE to a patrician family in Rome, young Caesar grew up amidst the political turmoil of the late Republic. Although his family, the Julii, was of noble lineage tracing back to mythical connections with the goddess Venus, their political influence had significantly declined over the years. This loss of prominence deeply motivated Caesar, fueling his ambition to not only restore his family's prestige, but also to secure his place in Roman history. His early life was marked by a mix of privilege and challenge, navigating complex power dynamics while honing his skills in leadership, oratory, and military strategy, traits that would later define his rise through the ranks of Roman society. As he matured, Caesar pursued both military and political ambitions, driven by an intense hunger for power and legacy. His victories in the Gallic Wars, from the siege of Alesia, where he outmaneuvered a numerically superior force, to his conquest of vast territories across modern-day France and Belgium, cemented his reputation as one of Rome's greatest generals. These conquests not only showcase his tactical genius and ability to adapt in the face of adversity, but they also brought immense wealth and resources to Rome, strengthening his political influence. His success made him incredibly popular with the plebeians, who idolized him as a hero and a champion of the common people. Soldiers adored him too, praising his unparalleled charisma, his willingness to share hardships on the battlefield, and his unwavering loyalty to his men, which inspired fierce devotion in return. Caesar's rise to power was as much about his military brilliance as it was about his ability to connect with people from all walks of life. But this rising star wasn't loved by everyone. The Senate, composed of Rome's elite and fiercely protective of their authority, grew increasingly wary of Caesar's growing influence and popularity among the masses. They feared that his ambitions might not only overshadow their own power, but could also dismantle the fragile structures of the Republic itself, which had stood for centuries. Whispers of conspiracy and unease spread through the Senate chambers as tensions mounted. Little did they know, Caesar was already setting plans in motion to alter Rome forever, reshaping its political landscape and securing his place in history. In 49 BCE, Julius Caesar made the fateful decision to cross the Rubicon River with his army, a bold act of defiance against the Roman Senate that signaled the start of a civil war. This decisive move, famously described as the die is cast, set off a chain of events that would forever change Roman history. Following years of conflict, Caesar emerged victorious, consolidating his power and being declared dictator for life in 44 BC. This position granted him unprecedented authority to reshape Rome's political, social, and economic structures, laying the groundwork for the eventual transition from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. However, such absolute power also made him a target, ultimately leading to his assassination later that same year. Caesar's vision aimed to bridge the gap between Rome's elite and its struggling masses, addressing the deep social and economic divides that threatened the stability of the Republic. He enacted sweeping reforms, redistributing land to the poor in an effort to provide opportunities for the disenfranchised and reduce the power of wealthy landowners. To further support the underprivileged, he resettled Roman citizens in newly established colonies, offering them a fresh start and a chance to contribute to the expansion of Rome's influence. His adjustments to the tax system were designed to alleviate financial burdens on Rome's provinces, ensuring both fairness and efficiency by curbing corrupt practices and standardizing tax collection. These reforms not only aimed to improve the lives of ordinary citizens, but also to strengthen Rome's unity and prosperity as a whole. Politically, he expanded the Senate, aiming to make it more inclusive by incorporating representatives from newly conquered territories. This move sought to provide greater regional representation and integrate diverse voices into the Roman political framework. However, while it broadened participation, it also significantly diluted the Senate's overall authority and influence. This shift in power dynamics further alienated the traditional Roman elite, who viewed the changes as a threat to their long-standing dominance within the government. And then there was a Julian calendar, a revolutionary shift introduced by Julius Caesar in 46 BC that aligned the Roman calendar with the solar year, correcting the drift caused by the previously used lunar calendar. This groundbreaking reform standardized the length of the year to 365 days, with an extra day added every 4 years to account for the fractional day in the solar cycle. It modernized timekeeping practices, ensuring greater consistency for agricultural, religious, and civil activities. The Julian calendar outlasted Caesar's rule and remained widely used for centuries, setting the groundwork for the Gregorian calendar, which still governs our timekeeping today. Though Caesar's reforms brought significant benefits to many, they profoundly disrupted the Republic's political system, shaking its very foundations. His sweeping changes, such as land redistribution, debt relief, and extending citizenship to those in Roman provinces, addressed long-standing issues and won unpopular support. However, these reforms came at a cost. Caesar's consolidation of power dismantled the delicate system of checks and balances that had long defined Roman governance. By assuming the unprecedented role of dictator perpetuo, dictator for life, he effectively sidelined the Senate, reducing its influence and authority. This move alienated Rome's traditional aristocracy, who viewed his actions as a direct threat to the Republic's ideals and their own political power. The resentment it created would ultimately lead to his assassination and plunge Rome into further turmoil. Yet, his legacy among the general populace was different. To many plebeians, Caesar wasn't a tyrant, but a champion of their cause. He was seen as a leader who sought to elevate their status, one legislative act at a time, introducing reforms that redistributed land, alleviated debt, and provided grain to the poor. These actions earned him their loyalty and admiration, painting him as a figure who truly understood and addressed their struggles in a way no leader had before. Despite his widespread popularity with the people, Julius Caesar's unyielding dominance and accumulation of power deeply alarmed the Roman Senate. They feared he was undermining the Republic and angling to establish himself as a monarch, a concept abhorrent to Roman ideals. On March 15th, 44 BC, the infamous Ides of March, a group of conspirators, including Brutus and Cassius, who had once been allies of Caesar, orchestrated his assassination. In a dramatic and violent scene, Caesar was stabbed multiple times in the Senate chamber, marking one of the most pivotal and tragic moments in Roman history. Far from preserving the Republic, Caesar's assassination plunged Rome into a series of civil wars. His death marked the end of the Roman Republic and ushered in the Roman Empire under Augustus, Caesar's adopted heir. Today, Julius Caesar remains one of history's most polarizing figures. To some, he's a visionary reformer who sought to better Rome through ambitious changes, such as redistributing land to the poor, reforming the tax system, and expanding citizenship to people in Rome's provinces. To others, he's the man who dismantled Rome's cherished republic by concentrating power in his own hands, undermining centuries-old traditions of shared governance. His military conquests, particularly in Gaul, not only expanded Rome's territory, but also showcased his tactical brilliance, cementing his legacy as one of history's greatest generals. However, no one can deny that his influence on governance, military strategy, and social reforms continues to shape how we view ancient Rome, leaving a legacy that has sparked debate for over 2 millennia. Caesar's climb to power was no solo act. It was built on a strategic partnership with two of Rome's most influential and powerful figures, Pompey the Great and Marcus Licinius Crassus. Together, they formed the First Triumvirate, an unofficial political alliance that changed the course of Roman history. This alliance was crafted to bypass the authority of the Senate, which often posed obstacles to their ambitions, and to consolidate their collective control over Rome. Pompey, a celebrated military commander, brought his influence and army to the table, while Crassus, one of the wealthiest men in Roman history, provided significant financial resources. Meanwhile, Caesar, with his growing popularity and political cunning, served as the glue that held the group together. Through this partnership, the trio dominated Rome's military, finances, and politics, ensuring mutual success and paving the way for Caesar's eventual rise to unparalleled power. Yet, even allied ambitions can turn sour. The Triumvirate, originally formed to consolidate power and maintain order, was not immune to internal tensions. Growing distrust and personal rivalries among its members would later fracture Rome's delicate balance even further, unraveling the alliance. This breakdown of unity ultimately set the stage for a series of devastating civil conflicts, leaving Rome in political and social turmoil. Caesar's military campaigns in Gaul weren't just a showcase of tactical brilliance. They redefined Rome's perception of power and its role in the ancient world. The Gallic Wars, fought over 8 grueling years from 58 to 50 BCE, brought untold wealth to Rome, secured its borders against potential threats, and elevated Caesar's reputation as a military genius. These campaigns were marked by innovative strategies, daring maneuvers, and relentless ambition. However, this expansion came with a significant human cost. Entire tribes were subdued, millions of people were enslaved, and vast forests and lands were transformed into Roman provinces. The wars not only altered the political landscape of Gaul, but also set the stage for Caesar's eventual rise to supreme power, reshaping the course of Roman history forever. Accounts like those in Caesar's Commentarii de Bello Gallico, written as both a detailed account of his military campaigns and a tool for propaganda, solidified his reputation as a legendary figure. These writings not only showcase his strategic brilliance and military conquests, but also carefully crafted his image as a leader to be both admired for his prowess and feared for his power, ensuring his influence extended far beyond the battlefield. Behind every great leader lies equally compelling alliances. Caesar's relationship with Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt, wasn't just romantic, it was deeply strategic. Cleopatra, a brilliant and politically astute ruler, partnered with Caesar during a turbulent time when her claim to the throne was under threat. By aiding her in securing her position during Egypt's civil war, Caesar not only solidified Cleopatra's rule, but also ensured Rome's control over Egypt, a region critical to the empire as its breadbasket. This partnership not only strengthened their political power, but also marked a turning point in the intertwined histories of Rome and Egypt. Their alliance showcased a blend of romance and strategy that often defined relationships in the ancient world. Through Cleopatra, Caesar solidified Rome's access to Egypt's immense wealth, including its abundant grain supplies and valuable resources, which were crucial for sustaining the empire. This alliance not only strengthened Rome's economy, but also further cemented Caesar's status as a powerful ruler capable of uniting East and West, bridging two great civilizations through strategic diplomacy and influence. Caesar didn't just conquer territories. He sought to completely reshape Roman society and address its deep inequalities. Recognizing the struggles of Rome's marginalized citizens, he initiated reforms that went beyond military conquests. From grand public entertainment to legal acts that canceled debt, Caesar aimed to ease the burdens of the common people and win their loyalty. His ambitious public works projects, including the construction of aqueducts, temples, and other infrastructure, not only beautified the city, but also created jobs for thousands of unemployed citizens. These efforts helped transform Rome into a more vibrant and functional metropolis, cementing Caesar's legacy as both a leader and a reformer. These changes weren't purely altruistic. They bolstered Caesar's popularity, enabling him to bypass Senate opposition and tighten his grip on the Republic. In January of 49 BC, a single decision marked the point of no return in Roman history. Julius Caesar, standing at the banks of the Rubicon River, faced a critical choice that would alter the course of the Republic. By crossing the Rubicon with his army, Caesar violated Roman law, which prohibited generals from bringing troops into Italy and signaled open rebellion. This bold move was not just a challenge to the authority of the Senate, but also a direct declaration of war against his former ally, Pompey. The crossing set in motion a chain of events that would ultimately lead to the fall of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. This bold movement showed his willingness to defy centuries of tradition, plunging Rome into a civil war that would determine its fate. The ensuing civil war pitted Julius Caesar against his former ally and rival, Pompey the Great. What had once been a powerful political alliance within the First Triumvirate had now disintegrated into open conflict. This was not just a battle for personal power and dominance, but also a pivotal struggle over the future governance of Rome. At stake was whether Rome would remain a republic or transition into a system dominated by a single, unrivaled leader. The war would not only reshape Roman politics, but also leave a lasting impact on the empire's trajectory. When Pompey fell, the world knew Caesar's path to absolute power was almost unstoppable. Loyalty was Caesar's secret weapon, the foundation of his remarkable success. He treated his soldiers as comrades, not pawns, forging a deep bond that transcended the typical leader-follower dynamic. His willingness to march with them through harsh conditions, endure the same hardships, and fight alongside them on the battlefield earned their undying devotion. Caesar didn't just lead from above. He inspired from within, celebrating their victories as collective achievements and ensuring they felt valued and respected. This unwavering loyalty became the cornerstone of his military conquests and the key to his enduring legacy. This bond gave Caesar a loyal force that not only provided unmatched military strength, but also solidified his political influence. This loyalty stemmed from the deep connection he forged with his soldiers, built on shared victories, strategic generosity, and mutual ambition. It created a foundation so strong that it remained unshakable, even when he faced enormous political challenges and opposition from powerful rivals in Rome. The pen was as mighty as the sword in Caesar's hands. His masterful use of propaganda, including writings like Commentarii de Bello Gallico, which detailed his military campaigns in Gaul, ensured that his narrative of triumphs and reforms reached the Roman public with precision. These accounts not only glorified his victories, but also portrayed him as a leader of unparalleled skill and vision, consolidating his image as a hero of the Republic. Through his strategic storytelling, Caesar shaped public opinion and secured his place in history long before his eventual rise to power. These stories portrayed Caesar not just as a leader, but as a larger-than-life figure, a living legend whose accomplishments and charisma captivated the public. By highlighting his victories, strength, and vision, these narratives solidified his image as an almost invincible ruler, making it nearly impossible for adversaries to sway public opinion against him or diminish his influence. The assassination of Julius Caesar might have ended his life, but it couldn't halt the profound changes he set in motion. His death on the Ides of March in 44 BCE created a power vacuum that plunged Rome into a period of chaos, civil wars, and political unrest. However, his adopted heir, Octavian, later known as Augustus, emerged as the ultimate victor in these struggles. Through strategic alliances, military triumphs, and political reforms, Octavian consolidated power and laid the foundation for the Roman Empire. His reign marked the definitive end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of a new era of imperial rule, transforming Rome into one of history's most enduring empires. Rome would no longer be steered by a Senate, where voices of many once shaped its destiny, but by a single hand, concentrating power in one ruler and forever influenced by Caesar's legacy of ambition, reform, and absolute authority. Was Caesar the savior of Rome or its destroyer? His sweeping reforms tackled systemic inequalities, such as land redistribution for veterans and debt relief for the poor, which earned him the loyalty of the masses. However, his unprecedented accumulation of power, including his appointment as dictator for life, challenged the core principles of the Republic and sparked fears of tyranny among the Senate. This dual legacy of social progress and political upheaval has left historians debating his true impact on Rome to this day. In altering Rome's destiny, Caesar stands as both a hero and a cautionary tale of unchecked ambition. His leadership brought significant reforms and expanded the empire, yet his rise to power also highlighted the dangers of consolidating authority in one individual, ultimately leading to his tragic downfall. In his final days, Caesar had dreams even more grandiose than his already extraordinary reality. He envisioned expanding the Roman Empire to unparalleled heights, with plans to launch a massive campaign to conquer Parthia, Rome's powerful rival in the east, and to further solidify Roman power in Britain, transforming it into a lasting stronghold of the empire. These ambitions were not just military conquests, but also part of a larger vision to secure Rome's dominance and his own legacy as its greatest leader. However, his assassination cut these plans short, leaving them unrealized, a tantalizing what-if that continues to intrigue and fascinate historians to this day. Had he lived longer, Caesar may have expanded Rome's reach even further, conquering new territories and solidifying Rome's dominance across Europe and beyond. However, one must wonder, what might that have cost in terms of resources, political stability, and the lives of those caught in his relentless pursuit of power? Caesar's assassination sent ripples far beyond Rome, marking a turning point in history. His death not only symbolized the dangers of concentrated power, but also served as a stark warning to potential rivals of Rome's authority and influence. The dramatic event highlighted the fragile balance between ambition and governance, inspiring leaders across Europe and Asia to reflect on both the opportunities and risks of pursuing absolute power. It also set the stage for the end of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire, reshaping the political landscape of the ancient world. Caesar became more than a figure of his time. He became a global symbol of leadership, strategy, and even betrayal. His military brilliance and political acumen reshaped the Roman Empire, leaving a legacy that has been studied and admired for centuries. Yet, his dramatic fall, marked by the infamous betrayal by those closest to him, serves as a timeless cautionary tale about power and trust. Julius Caesar forged a legacy that transcends time. He demonstrated both the power and peril of ambition, leaving behind lessons still reflected in our politics, military strategies, and imaginations.